We negotiate with what should Jeff do, what should Jeff do to help those countries or assist those countries to access the funds. Because Jeff does not own the funds, they just house the fund. So we also at that level express all those, if we have any difficulties at the national level, then it goes back to the international level at the negotiation level.
At the Conference of Parties, the COP.
Yeah, the COP.
That's where everything is negotiated. So actually we can see that the delegation doesn't just leave the country just for the sake of traveling, but when you go there, you're really busy negotiating for funds to come back to the country and projects to come to the country and develop the country.
And then at the bilateral level, it's also very important, not only at the negotiation table, because the negotiation table is the multilateral system, and the multilateral system takes us all. Those are the developed and the developing countries. It takes us, all of us, to agree on one point. We've left Cancun and we went to Bonn, and then from Bonn we went to Bangkok. Then from Bangkok now we're going to Doha. But Doha, what Cancun had asked Doha to do was to make sure that ambition level is raised. Now it's interpreted by our partners. Ambition means the greenhouse gases. It's not only the greenhouse gases, but the level of finance. Even the level of finance, that ambition that is there should be raised. But there is a very big gap. 2013 and 2020, there is nothing in terms of finance. And as I said, we have negotiated the Green Climate Fund, but there's nothing yet in the fund. It means we have negotiated an empty shell. And this shell, how do we fill that shell? But Durban is also, we were also concentrating on saving the Kyoto Protocol. So we managed to save the Kyoto Protocol in quotes because we don't want a gap between 2012, 31st of December 2012, and the 1st of January 2013. And we understand that our partners from the EU do not also want that gap.
I know you can talk on climate change for the next 1 hour, you will never finish. But just to have a feel of what other panelists feel about the topic, let's move over to Alhaji Bubu Jallo. Now, Mr. Jallo, you are the Chief Technical Advisor of the Climate Change Early Warning Project in the Gambia. Yeah. You have been in United Nations Environment Program for the past years, and you have a whole wealth of experience in the area of climate change. Now, what would you say are our commitments as a country to the Kyoto Protocol, that is the Convention on Climate Change?
Well, as a country and as a member of the least developed countries, the Gambia is interested in adapting to climate change because our contribution to the emissions of greenhouse gases is very small. So what we want to do is to prepare our population to adapt to climate change. And Ismaila, for the past 15 years, we have done a lot of studies. We have our national communication, our capacity self-assessment, our second national communication now, and in all those ones, the National Adaptation Program, we have identified projects and activities that can help our population adapt to climate change. Now we have started getting funding coming to the Gambia for some of those activities. We are working with UNEP and the JEF for the early warning. You know, it is important for the Gambia to warn its population as to what are the climate risks that are about to come. Give them enough warning so that they get prepared. And this is currently is about 2.something million. After we have started last August, we realized that that is a very small amount to prepare the Gambia. And right now we have, our UNFCCC focal point, who's Usman Jaju, was able to go to New York and negotiate for another 8 million. So that 8 million is now approved and we are going to work towards that. But not only that, there are also activities on the coastal zone. And on the coastal zone, this is where Cabinet has said that should be our highest priority now. And thanks to Allah, we have got some activities that are about to come under the JEF and to be implemented by the National Environment Agency with other collaborators like the Department of Water Resources, the Ministry of Works and so on, there is about about $9 million for the coastal zone.
Coastal zone project.
But also from the EU, we are expecting about 3.8 million euro. Yeah, so these two projects will come to the coastal zone, and we hope that in the future we will be able to protect our coast using some soft structures like better policies and so on, and then hard structures, which we are now beginning to determine what hard structures should be there. Should it be seawalls? Should it be rivetments? Should it be other type of structures that can protect our coastal zone?
But was,
still,
we have basically adaptation to do here in the Gambia, but nonetheless, maybe we can embark on certain mitigation programs. What are the mitigation areas you think we can embark upon?
Well, mitigation areas that we are discussing now, bilaterally and multilaterally for the Gambia and also some of the LDCs, is mostly in the energy sector and also some sectors like forestry, but mostly in the energy sector. How can we change some of these inefficient light bulbs, even some of our fossil fuel consumption, how can we change it into renewables? How can we change our inefficient light bulbs to efficient light bulbs? Efficient light bulbs meaning in the climate change, when we say efficient light bulbs, these are light bulbs that will not lead to a lot of emission of greenhouse gases. You see, so those are some of the things that are being discussed, and we are hopeful that there may be some funding coming forward to addressing some of those things. Yes, and also maybe Sergio can tell us what in the area of forestry, what can we do to reduce greenhouse gases and even help adaptation?
Yeah, exactly, because the problem is, as the Honorable Minister said, the developed countries have the capacity to adapt to climate change and its challenges. Therefore, they can sort of make sure the impacts on them are very limited. But unfortunately for we least developed countries, we don't have the capacity. But all the same, you know, there are efforts that we can do, as you said, in the forestry area. Now, Mr. Sergio Fatajo is the acting director of forestry. Mr. Fatajo, you know, forests are very important in terms of absorbing the carbon dioxide, which is the causal effect of climate change. Now, what do you think can happen in the forestry sector in that area?
Yeah, thank you very much, Ismaila. When you talk about climate change, the first thing that comes to the people's mind, they say the forests are destroyed. This is the baseline. And you should understand that forestry is very unique because forestry, they provided goods and services for mankind. But when you talk about climate change, it's an environmental issue globally. Definitely Gambia is not left out. Forestry are biologically diverse systems in the sense that they provide, as I said earlier, they provide meaningful goods for the mankind. And presently, these forests, they are treated. Combinations of activities which are human acceleration activities. For example, when you talk about deforestation, which is very widely in the Gambia, I don't want to go into extensively how they occur, but these are caused by illegal exploitation of forest products, and also bushfire. And bushfire, I think, is the main cause. If you talk about climate change, the first thing that even comes to mind as a contribution of bushfire is very, very high, because 80% of forest land is burned annually. And then unsustainable farming also contributed to climate change because they are in link. In 30 years, we have a lot of rainfall, we have a healthy forest cover, but compared to here, definitely agriculture expanding, encroaching in the forest land. And nonetheless, population pressure is very, very wide. It's so big that when you talk about population, don't talk about the dynamic and people involvement, talking about emission of gases, many second-hand cars bring to the country, particularly combined with the bushfire and population pressure, is so great. And poverty is also the main cause of this problem. I don't want to say all, but these are linked to human activities. Because if you look at human beings, they are the primary agents of desertification. And they create the main causes, and